Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome to Mahogany Sweets. So I wanted to come and talk to y'all about the thing going on with the Breakfast Club with Jess Hilarious and Lauren Larosa, I believe her name is, because there's some great, valuable things that we could learn and utilize from this situation. But I want to first preference with this could all be a publicity stunt for ratings, viewership, mentions, and stuff like that, because I'm quite sure they have had a spike in it. And they could have given Just Hilarious the go, talking about the heads up there, as well as Charlemagne and DJ Envy, for her to go and do this, for it to get them being talked about and get eyes on them and stuff like that. Because guess what? More eyes, more mentions throughout social media and stuff like that, more clips, all equals and translate to advertising dollars, right? Money in their bank and new eyes on them. So it could be a publicity stunt. But outside of that, let's get to it, right? Okay, so for one, Jess Hilarious was supposed to take Angela Yee's spot and be the female co host who did the topics and things like that, hot topics, rumor report, and such. She got pregnant, went out on maternity leave. They brought in a young woman named Loren. Loren filled that role when Jess Hilarious came back, which would mean the end of Lauren's contract of, you know, filling that seat. It did not end though for her. She continued to stay on. So this could have been a matter of them using Lauren to fill the spot, but taking a liking to her. Viewers might have taken a liking to her. They noticed that they seen value in her and wanted to keep her. Um, or they could have said, "Hey, we feel she's better than Jess. We'll let Jess continue out her contract, right? But we will keep Lauren on, so it could be a smooth transition once we not renew Jess Hilarious's contract." It could, it could be a number of things going on, or they just say, "Hey, we want her as an addition, both of you guys." Now, the part that is wrong on the station's part is this is something that should have been verbalized to Jess Hilarious when she came back. But if they was considering making Lauren a main co-star, they might have wanted to first check and see what their vibe would be like, their chemistry and everything, before telling her, like, hey, before telling Lauren we want to keep you on and give you a further extended contract, and before telling Jess we want to keep her on and give her a further extended contract. So they might have decided to leave things in the air to see the chemistry, which, though, that's still something that they should have been able to tell both of them, like, hey, we think this might be a great marriage. We need and want to see the chemistry. But normally those are things they would want to be natural. So I get why they were shielding from that. But it would have only taken at most a month to figure out if these two women had chemistry with each other and if it could work well with all of them being on there. So regardless to what was the station's reasoning for keeping Lauren on, or they could have figured that, okay, Justin had this baby, Jess might decide, hey, you know what, I want to stay home for a longer period of time with my child. You never know what they're thinking. But I do know this: a lot of problems that happen in a workplace are not just because of the employees. It does start with the head and them not communicating properly, them telling one worker or one manager one thing and then another thing. I've had these instances at my job. Now, I did not respond necessarily the same way she responded to them, but back in my immature days and lack of emotional regulation and self control and professionalism, I have had issues at work. But that's besides the point. So I just want to say they should have at some point came way previous to now, because even they technically still have not came and said anything to the young ladies. But I also believe that DJ Envy and Charlemagne are given the control and power of who sits on that show. So between them and the heads, they were messy in how they chose to handle this, and should have by now went and told both of them what was going on, what their plans were moving forward, and stuff like that. So there is an issue on their behalf. Now, this is where Jess is the problem and is in fault. You do not go to the other coworker, or co-host to have a problem and state what your problem is to them. That's not who you go to unless this was a personal problem. Like, let's say y'all two had a personal problem outside of management, outside of um, the heads. Then right, you could possibly address them if you have the maturity and professionalism to do so, for you two to work it out without taking it over each other's head. But that's something that she should have took to DJ Emmy and Charlemagne, because, like I said, I'm quite sure that they are the powers behind choosing which one of them stay, which one of them go, or if both of them be there or not. So she should have took that directly to them, what her issue was, and it's a way to even go about that. She could have simply leave emotion out of it, because I would imagine there would be some job insecurity on Jess Park, because you like, okay, she was only supposed to be here for this short time, but I come back and she's still here. So what, am I going to be replaced and stuff like that? But normally, what they would do if that was the case is tell you to stay at home. They would have sent her an email or something like that while on maternity leave, and normally right before she was due to come back, and told her, hey, you know what, we're gonna pay you out your contract, but you can stay at home, or something like that, if that was what they were planning to do. So I don't think that they wanted to replace Jess, but I could understand her feeling like maybe just my replacement here, and y'all want to go ahead and keep me on to have the audience more easily and successfully transition to Loren being the only one up there. But anyway, so none of that happened. Jess chose to be in her feelings about it. It was said that Emmy even came to her and asked her, because, like I told you, them two are actually ones with the power concerning this, and even told her, hey, if you don't want her here, then she'll go, tell me how you feeling about things and stuff like that. To which she did not use emotional maturity or professionalism and stuff, um, to voice how she felt about it ultimately. So that's where all this drama is. Then she chose to go on live ranting and raving about it. Wrong move, unless this is like, hey, go ahead and do it. This gonna bring us publicity and all of that. Which I think is the case, but it's still a matter that I think is authentic and truly is happening or happened. But these are things that I want people to think about and realize, because there's a few of them. Number one, when you are in a workplace setting, you doing your job and doing it well is all that matters. You're going to shine, and no one can take that from you. Another person doing that same job don't matter, even if in some aspects they're like, you both of you are bringing two different things to the table, so both are necessary and needed. So technically, another person coming to the table who actually does not do, because no one can be you, no one can do what you do the way you do it if you're being authentically yourself. No one can fill your shoes. No, it can be the exact same thing. We're gonna have two different approaches, right? You could take the same outfit, and a person, they wear everything the same, they're still wearing it their own way, they're making the outfit, right? One might choose, let's say it's buttons on, one might choose to have buttons up, one might choose to have buttons down, one might choose to pull up the sleeves, one might choose to keep them down, one might choose to cuff the pants, one might choose to crease the pants, one may choose to use silver as the accent color, one may choose to go with gold or rose gold. You're making it, right? Everything matters and factors in. So even how just the person walks, carries themselves, it makes a difference. So believe it or not, when you are working with someone, the contrast between the two actually makes each one shine even brighter versus if they were alone, right? So that's one thing you need to understand. The person isn't taking from you, they're adding to. The second thing, that if she was smart, strategic, mature, intellectual she would have got from this, and professional, how she could have used this is that also encourages and bring in energy to make you even better at what you do. So now you're not just shining in your differences, the things that make you you, right? The contrast, you're reaching higher levels than if you did not have someone there with you at a contrast. So that's number two. Number three, Since there is a contrast between the two, the both could grow and learn and develop other skills from each other. So you're not just shining, you're not just bettering the skills that you already have. You could be learning and picking up new skills from the other person and vice versa. Number four, when you have two people working together, bouncing ideas off each other and stuff like that, it actually releases in your brain, it unlocks in your brain even more creativity, more genius than if you were alone. So you get to higher heights, new ideas, and stuff like that, um, greater creativity at a faster rate and at a higher rate when you are working with someone and y'all do have a contrast. It helps bring out things in you that ordinarily or by yourself you wouldn't necessarily get to, and vice versa, right? So that's another benefit. Anytime you're dealing with any situation in life, personal or career, look adversity, good or bad. Look at what can I pull from this, learn from this, grow from this, use this for, right? It's not a negative. Adversity, competition, and all that is not a negative. It's all a plus if you know how to rightfully use it, maturely use it, strategically use it. So that's the other thing. It could help perfect her in her own skills and help her gain more and help her creativity blossom and reach higher heights quicker. The other thing, you get to try new things out, new methods, new approaches, see what works, what don't. If you want to, let's say, put a little bit of this ingredient in there, now you have the liberty of being able to try that out in real time, seeing what amount of that you want to add or is best, and how it'll fare well, all in real time without all lights being on you because you have someone else that is sitting there that will garner and kind of cloak mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So now you can actually have more freedom to evolve personally in a greater ways at your craft for things that you want to try for comedy or any of that personas, because it's not just you that everyone's looking at. You do have someone who kind of as a distraction. So if you make a mistake, if it don't fit, if it ain't right, okay, that can blow over quicker. That's one of the pluses and benefits of it. As well as, let's say that you want to be late. You lucky you got somebody else there that can kind of fill that void of energy since they're present and stuff like that. So that's another plus from it. Um, Other things such as when you're dealing with work, for example, you got too many people who want to be in the spotlight, right? They don't want to play their role. They want the attention. They want the spotlight on them, which can actually be have some bad effects to that. It's a bad end on that too. So if the let's say if the director wanted the spotlight for themselves, you're not going to have for a great movie. You know what I'm saying? Like the EMS person and the nurse are just as important as the doctor, if not even more important than a doctor. You get what I'm saying? Because if that EMS ain't there to get you to where you can even get to the doctor alive, sustained enough to get to the doctor, you are screwed. So most will look at an EMS worker as a background position, but it's a vital position. You have background positions that are vital to mankind. Nothing that exists or that is used today or that is going on would work if it was not a team effort, if you did not have people playing their position, and if you did not have people okay with being in the background. Because a lot of times background stuff is what's most important, right? If you don't have those key position and skills, nothing is moving anyway. Think of an engineer. The engineer makes the pilot look good because the pilot can't fly nothing without the engineer. Think of the air traffic controller. The pilot can't do what he do without the air traffic controller. Lucky though, we don't got the air traffic controller saying, "I want to be in the spotlight. I want to be the pilot." You get what I'm saying? Which technically they are the pilot behind scenes, but anyway. So it's like it's the lineman. The lineman makes the quarterback look good. The quarterback can't do what he do if he don't have his blockers and stuff. So people need to be okay with not having the chief role or the what's perceived as a chief role or the chief title, right? Get that outside of your head. That's all just ego bullcrap anyway. Because most of the time, people in the background are the ones who making the most anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I think part of her needs to look at this as this is a team effort. No, this show, I wouldn't have a chair to protect if this show does not do well and be successful. And if adding this young lady makes for a better show, right? Then I need and want her here. She should be here. So no, I'm not the only female presence, but now I can be present because we're getting higher ratings, higher interest, more mentions, and stuff like that. Better chemistry. More people are tuning in because of what this person adds to the table, right? That missing link and stuff like that. So, whenever you're dealing with business or your personal life, always remember it's a team effort. And what you want to do is think what is best for the project, what is best for the assignment, what is what is best for the overall unit. And if that's me having to play a background role or share the spotlight, then that's what I'm going to do. Because if I don't, it's possible I won't even have a spotlight or this project won't go anywhere. So people need to check their egos, right? Working together for each other, serving each other, one another, working together for the greater good of something is always the mindset and best route to take if you want something to be successful, if you want to be successful. So Jess Hilarious should be considering that you so worried about your chair and you being the woman up here that you not looking at ratings. If it's gonna be a chair, if y'all on the brink of cancellation, you not looking at okay, maybe we good and things are sustained with the three of us, but oh, this fourth party being put in has opened this up to a broader audience. More people are coming in and stuff like that. Like matter of fact, Joe Budden is a perfect person to look at for this. Joe Budden gonna do what's best for the show. So think of what Joe Budden added the female. That broadens the audience, right? That brings eyes in, whether men, women, or whatever. He added the street dude. He added the high energy dude. He added the intellectuals. You want all the ingredients in the pot because that's what's going to make for a better taste, a better flavor, and broaden your audience and your value, right? Um, so just is emotionally immature. That's another thing I want to talk about. This gives us a clear example of what to do, what not to do in your personal life or professionally. Um, Women need to learn to be ladylike, come back to femininity. That's our strength and where we're strongest at because it's naturally our gifting, feminine energy. Women need to come back to feminine energy, being feminine, being a woman, being ladylike. Women need to practice emotional regulation. You should not be having outbursts. You should not be flying at the handle, whether it's in tears or in anger, in any either direction. You should have self control and emotional regulation. All right. As I was maturing and God was teaching me how to step into womanhood and being ladylike and stuff like that, um, one of the things that he taught me was no, you sit back and before you react, you don't be reactionary. Before you react, think and process your own thoughts and feelings. Why am I feeling this way? Right? What's the source that's causing me to feel this way? Is this something internal or is it another person or objective. Normally, it's internally though. Is we blame or accuse or point the finger at other people, but it's all within ourselves and how we feel about ourselves, about things, and show up in the world. So then I ask myself, does this have validity to it? Right? Does this feeling, emotion, thought even have validity to it? Should I even be giving it time or attention? You will find that most things you shouldn't. Is not to say, I'm not saying feelings are not valid. They are. They're there for a reason, and God gave them to us. But it's all in context and in proper order, and and you should still have control over it. And sometimes you'll find, being a woman, okay, you emotional because of the show that you just watched. Right. This person ain't did or said nothing wrong, or these people aren't doing or saying nothing wrong, or ain't nothing wrong with your life or going wrong. You're just emotional because you have attached yourself to a film and a narrative that you just watched or a song that you just heard. No, you do not validate those feelings and you do not react on them, and you have to be mature enough, patient enough to process them and see, okay, where is this coming from, and is it valid? And then, even if it is valid, what's the proper way to respond to handle this, right? Not making choices that will inflame it, make it worse. No, what will be a solution to this? So you need to think in terms of that, right? Emotional regulation, processing properly, being thoughtful, considering things, and then thinking of what's the solution. What will make this different or better or whatever? And that still starts with you. No one else's job, your own. That's still an internal thing. So we have to be wise and not work counterproductive, right? It's a time and place for everything. Um, Ranting and raving at co-workers at that in the workplace is never a time or place to do. It's never. Because even if you want to look at like, well, I'm walking out the door and they did me wrong, da da da, so I'm gonna do this, blow up, expose, do all that. You're not considering the fact that there's other people looking at you. There are other people that you could later need in the future or want to do a joint venture with, or that wanted to offer you a joint venture. They're watching, they're listening, there. So you have to always consider that. You have to be strategic in everything that you do and look at, where does this get me now and where does this get me 5 months from now, 5 years from now? What's the different ways that this could play out? What's the different ways that this can be taken? What bridges am I possibly burning with this move? What bridges am I possibly building? Right? So to blow up and explode from this, right? Because you also got to take that into context. It might be some people who will look and say, depending on what it was, I'm going to go ahead and support you in that and give you that. But it may be others who look at it like, not only was this not something to do that over, this wasn't the way to do it. So she could be sealing her fate with future business ventures and stuff like that. And people need to look at the fact that, let me draw and pull in, learn from, develop, sculpt myself professionally and even individually. I'm not individually, but personally, like in your personal life, just as being a human, you want to be developing, elevating, evolving, growing all the time, all the time, right? Till the day that you pass. That's what you want to be doing. And she could be taking all these different things from learning from her, from helping it build her in her own successes, from showing how she shows up in adversity. Because if you do it like this in your professional life, then you're doing it like this in your personal life. And that might be the reasons why you have toxic relationships or have severed relationships and stuff like that. So you want to train yourself in all areas to not do that. Look at everything. What can I be pulling, learning, growing from this? How can I evolve myself through this? How can I mature in this? How can I hone skills through this, right? And take that with me in life. And she could have also gave a master class on how to deal with this. The topic could have been broached right on air, not that way, not with that mindset and mentality, because I somewhat hate that people use the term ghetto and ratchet and stuff like that because they only use it towards black people when no white people, Asian people, Latino people, the stuff do ratchet and ghetto stuff all the time too. So I kind of don't like using that word, but it's just the one that I'm going to use because although my vocabulary I would say is decent, I can't think of a different word. Um, the way that she chose to handle it is ghetto and ratchet. All right, from your choice words, that is important. Your choice words, the energy that you put them out, that is important. To the mannerisms and your tone of voice, all of that. Which my people, I know that we normally, typically, we speak loud because we have rhythm and soul, we have passion and things and stuff like that. So we normally speak loud. We ain't even got to be angry or upset about something. We just speaking loud because we speak loud, right? We have powerful voices and but anyway, so the way that she chose to carry and present herself as a woman, as a professional, as a lady, and the way that she chose to speak to another woman, professional and lady, and in the midst of other professionals and men was not okay. Wasn't right. Wasn't productive. Right. It was all counterproductive. So she could even brought this to the air and spoke about it a whole different demeanor, tone, um, and ask questions. Like even if she should have went and asked questions, show up humble, right? Don't show up assuming that you know anything, and don't show up answering questions that you have for other people. You can't ask a question and provide the answer. Think that you already know the answer. No, you got to let people speak and tell you their reasoning and stuff like that. So she should have broached this with, well, hey, I'm wondering what's going on. We started here regular, low, submissive tone. Actually, be even more intentional about your tone since you know what you are about to broach is something that does have feelings, but it is a matter of your job professionalism. So that's okay with. So she should have been even more sensitive and alert about what tone she was using, what choice words she was using, and the energy behind it. Simply, well, and Loren wouldn't be the person to ask. Loren here because they are allowing her to still be here and giving her a check. So, hey, DJ Envy, she was supposed to have been here just for my, which I love Loren. I'm glad that you're here, Loren. But I'm just wondering, she's supposed to be here for my maternity leave, and she's still here. Is she going to be our fourth co-host, or is this more of a we're going to do a transitioning of her replacing me? Simple. And then you allow them to answer and express what's going on. You don't assume, you don't answer for other people, and you don't take the energy. And always address things. Well, don't always address things off work because sometimes you might need to take a minute back to actually process, actually think about, like I said, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, is it valid, and how what's the best way to go about addressing it. But for the most part, always address things in the moment. See, if you've already trained yourself on emotional regulation, maturity, restraint, like self control and your tone, speech, and all of that, then it'll be fine. You won't have no problem addressing things in the moment because you will do it for the most part correctly. But always address in the moment because if you don't, you're going to go and fester on that and you're going to be having conversations with yourself in your head. And for her, it was conversation with herself in her head, plus with viewers, right? People in the comments. And it's going to make things worse and it's going to make your energy worse. So by the time that you do address it, you are completely out of control, have assumed, answer questions that you never even asked, anger, hurt, right? Like somebody did something to you when if you would have addressed it at the time being, it would have cut out a lot of that. So don't remember that too. Okay, I've sat and thought about this for a while. I'm a bit irritated because I've been looking from a negative point of view at that. Like I said, and then she should have looked at all this. What can be positive in life, y'all? I want y'all to do this in life. No matter what's going on, what is concerning, look at How can this benefit me? How can I grow from this? How can this make me better? How can I use this to set me up for the future? You get what I'm saying? For what I'm doing next. That should be your mindset. And then she wouldn't have did this because she would have also gave a master class on how to handle this, whatever was going on. Okay, how I'm gonna handle this. Okay, I'm gonna be strategic, and they possibly trying to replace me because right, some stuff you ain't even got to bring up to the other person. They possibly trying to replace me. I'm gonna sit back, chill, continue to do my job, do it well, pull all from what I can from this, and try and put in what I can, hone in on skills, and while I'm at home, instead of making lives renting, let me strategize on who got an opening, right? Who got an opening? Where this show going? Is do I want to venture off into a branched off field that's connected to this? Okay, let me hone and learn skills concerning that. Let me watch people doing that so I can see how that's done and try and work on developing that. And while I'm at this job, I can start practicing for this other type of position. You get what I'm saying? And getting eyes on me to where people see that's something that I can offer. So if they are trying to replace me, I'm already lining up where I'm going to pivot to, where I could possibly go next, in A, B, C, and D, while I'm still getting greater at my own skills and not showing any hate to this woman. I'm saluting her. I'm not competing with her. People, stop competing with other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people, especially when you go into the next way. What women have the bad job of doing is we can we compare ourselves to other women, all right, and then we want to compete with them, and our form of compete is just to try and tear them down, say, and point and tell everybody, look at, hey, look, this a flaw that you think they have because someone else might not even view that as a flaw. So women love to do that. Instead, if you are going to compete with other people, compete in the sense of let me show and let me show and put a spotlight on my strengths, on my valuableness, and that are A, B, C, and D. You don't try to tear the other person down. You do better and show up yourself. That's what you do. Um, so that's that's a, and people could have sat and looked and seen, wow, Jess is very mature, very professional. Wow, Jess is getting better at her job and what she does. Wow, Jess is being endearing, which she should have been being endearing to the young lady, not competing with her, comparing yourself to her, not in the back of your head asking why she's here. It's obvious. Oh, okay, I had her come on. She's great at some things, got some great skills. Let me learn from that. Let me learn from that. That can make me better. You get what I'm saying? While still bringing to the table the attributes of why they hired you. Let me develop and do that even better, which is going to naturally happen if you ain't sitting in negativity land. You're going to naturally begin to do better with someone of contrast there or someone that you consider yourself competing with because you're going to hone in on your strengths, right? Showcase what you're great at, not trying to tear them down, not have an attitude. So now you're not really doing your job. You distracted, you unfocused, and you bitterly putting energy out here and stuff that's making you not as good as you even were before, let alone better. So these are things people don't take into account. You have to have emotional regulation. You have to have maturity. You have to be strategic. You have to be wise at how you approach adversity. Um, you have to know how to pull from the good and bad to develop you into a greater version of yourself and stuff like that. So that's all I wanted to come and sit and talk to y'all about. Um, she could have put on a master class and showed and taught other women how to deal with a situation like this with grace, with class, with sophistication, with strategicness, with intellect, with not attacking the other person because you internally feel insecure about where your job is going and they might be the one who take it. No, this is where you say, oh, you thinking that way? Or you possibly are because she ain't asked. Let me show and get even more in my bag of what I do so y'all can rethink that. You get what I'm saying? But that's all. I hope that what I say that I understand what I'm trying to say and that it serves you well all the days of your life if you begin to try and apply it, which it doesn't happen overnight. If you've been functioning in a different way and in a different type of mind frame for amount of time, yeah, you're going to be messing up. Don't give up though. Don't say, "Oh wow, this is the 20th time I still did the same thing. I might as well give up." No, don't have that type of mindset. You keep evolving and growing, and sooner or later, instead of reflecting after the fact, you would then, while you're in it, be like, "Oh crap, I'm doing that thing," and then sooner or later, instead of while you're in it, right before you're about to do it, you'll start catching it, and then before catching it, right before you're about to do it, you'll get to where, oh, okay, before I, since I caught it, before catching it, before I did it, I actually have developed a different mind frame to where that's not the choice I made in doing this, right? So progression takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient and kind with others, and yeah, just try to continue to evolve, to grow, to learn, and remember that even outside of people watching her, um, that could have wanted to do work with her, there's people watching you that admire you and that you're setting an example for. You have to keep that in mind. And it could be peers, it could be people even older than you, younger than you. You never know who is looking up to you and admire you and who you're setting an example for. And they're going to show up in the world like you. So keep that in mind. It could be the neighbor, it could be your cousin, it could be your coworker that's sitting there like, oh, okay, I really admire them. Okay, good. They're going to move how you move and stuff like that. So always remember that as well too. Set an example. Look to serve others, not to be served. You get more fulfillment out of that. Work as a team and know it takes a unit and know that that is not a threat to you. The only threat to you is you not evolving and developing in what it is that you should be doing. And don't try and sabotage others. No, help and aid them to get to where they're going. Because, like I said, they're not a threat to you. And it, uh, and y'all, I hope y'all get my point. They're not a threat to you. Don't try and sabotage others, aid others, celebrate them what they have and stuff like that, um, and what they're doing. Be secure within yourself and know that any insecurities you have, they are of yourself. It's not anyone else's fault, and can't nobody else fix that. You have to fix that in yourself. So work on developing to do that. And yeah, I guess that's about all. Cause I keep going. I talk too way too much, and I type the same way, so people don't normally read nothing that I write. But anyway, so give me your thoughts about this and what y'all took away from it, and that'll be all. Bye.